Christian Ciobanu is the Policy and Advocacy Coordinator of the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, NAPF, and the Project Coordinator for Reverse the Trend, Save Our People, Save Our Planet, RTT. He has been a nuclear disarmament activist since 2010. Christian, over to you.
So according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, we are still 90 seconds to midnight. That is just incredible. So there's an imperative need for us to move the clock back and for the international community to take action now, instead of waiting some time in the near future when conditions would be right or ready for discussions on establishing a SSOD4. As we all know, since 1995, the General Assembly has been calling for a fourth session on disarmament. There's been working groups to discuss this, and throughout most of the 2000s. But still, certain states are preventing that from occurring. So why is SSOD4 needed now? So the global situation is deteriorating, and the nuclear weapon states have yet to disarm, despite their commitments in the NPT as part of the grand bargain between the nuclear weapon states and the non-nuclear weapon states, and Article 6, in which they committed to negotiate in good faith to disarm their nuclear weapons. They still don't think the conditions are right and ready. But there's been a lot of momentum, especially from nuclear-affected communities, as well as member states that have been affected by nuclear tests. So in the last year's first committee, Kiribati and Kazakhstan tabled a historic resolution on addressing the legacy of nuclear weapons. There was a report that was issued just last month by the Secretary General on this subject matter, and 171 states voted in favor. Interestingly, the US abstained on the resolution itself, which sends a signal that certain members of the US administration are willing to have discussions related to disarmament, like actual concrete discussions. So you may ask why Kiribati and Kazakhstan are so involved in this and why we heard from the ambassador. In the case of Kiribati, it's because the UK and the US conducted 33 nuclear tests, most of them just several miles from the coast of Christmas Island, where people were living at the time and still live to this day. The testing ended in 1962, the year right before the partial ban treaty went into effect. But there's still lingering health concerns, and despite these issues, neither the UK nor the US have made any radiological measurements or studies available to the people of Kiribati. Kiribati gained independence from the British in 1979. Unfortunately, they've been left to deal with the legacy on their own. And this is why you hear from the ambassador earlier about the need for the international community to really come together, because there's still so many people who are suffering in this country. In the case of Kazakhstan, 456 tests were conducted, which exposed an estimated 1.5 million people to high levels of radiation, leading to an array of birth defects, cancers, and other elements. In a historic move, the Kazakh government did shut down the testing site on August 29, 1991, even right before the nation left the Soviet Union. So these two countries have been really spearheading at the United Nations a push for affected communities to really express themselves and for there to be action on nuclear disarmament. So as we move forward and think about the necessity of having an SSOD4, we really must carve out space for affected states and communities to express themselves regarding the total elimination of nuclear weapons. We also need to provide a space for them to share why nuclear justice is linked to the total elimination of nuclear weapons. That discussion has only just begun at the United Nations, and it's something that we need to really continue momentum towards. We also need to push and encourage young people to rise up and share their voices. There is a strong groundswell of support for many youth. We've seen this in the example that Ambassador Sito mentioned, the intergenerational video on Shades of Disarmament. Two young people interviewed leading figures including Leslie Kagan and Jim Anderson of Peace Action New York State on their views regarding nuclear disarmament and the March and Rally. So there's an incredible amount of interest amongst youth, but we have to really encourage, interact, and mobilize them while also engaging with through an intergenerational lens in order to apply pressure on the public and to raise awareness and to try to shift the discourse and hopefully organize another rally in Central Park that can be really used to encourage states to actually convene SSOD4. It's all about the public pressure and to really hold certain nuclear weapon states accountable for their refusal to have this special session occur. Those are my brief remarks. Thank you so much.